Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's the mortgage mom. She can get things done. When you're in need and don't know where to go, pick up the phone and call mom.
All right, so welcome to Mortgage Mom Radio. I am Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom. And today, as I promised last week, we are going to talk a bit about Dave Ramsey and coming out and saying that now is a good time to buy. So we're going to discuss that in this episode. Now, I want to remind everybody that this is interactive. You are more than welcome to ask me your questions and put them right into the feed. I'm going to read them out loud and answer them for you. How do you do that? How do you know that I've gone live? Well, you're going to text the word mom to 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. That's also the telephone number to reach our office. So if you have any questions whatsoever, you want to talk about getting yourself a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan, like we discussed in our show last week, or you want to talk to us about getting pre-approved for a new purchase, whatever it is that you might need mortgage related, we are here to help you. And it is the exact same phone number that you call or that you text to opt in to get that link once a week. So once again, that number is 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. Now, today, you guys did not get a link. You didn't get a text message from me to let you know that I was going live. We had a little bit of commotion here at the house right before I was supposed to go on. We had a neighbor that accidentally crashed her car into our power pole in our front yard, and we weren't sure if I was going to have power. So I turned off the notifications. I didn't want a text message to go out, and then I was unable to do a show. But typically every single week you will get a text message from me to let you know what we're talking about that day and the link to join. If you don't want to do the text messaging, that's okay. I get it. We get spammed. We get so many text messages. We're tired of it. That's absolutely okay. You can also just subscribe to my channel. So you're watching me on YouTube, you're watching me on Facebook, follow my page on Facebook, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and you'll get those notifications as well to let you know that I've gone live. So I want you to get interactive with me. I want you to be part of the show every week, and I want you guys to definitely join. Now I can see that Heidi jumps on. She says hi all. So Heidi is here and she's watching. It is going to be a quieter show today because most of my followers want to get that text message once a week. And like I said, we had a little bit of commotion. Power went down and I wasn't sure how long it was going to take to get it back up and running. And I didn't want to send out a link for a show that wasn't going to happen. So sorry for all of those that are listening by radio on Saturday on Go Country 105. I love you guys and I love that you're listening every week, but I want you to get interactive with me. I want you to get on when I'm doing the show. I want you to see me do this live. I'm taking the sound and I'm sending it to you and you're hearing it delayed on the weekend. So get in on it. So text that word mom. It's just MOM. That's it. No opt-in, no nothing, just mom. And you're going to text it to our phone number here at the office. It's 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. So we are going to take a super quick break. And when we get back, I actually pulled an article that I found. And it's called The Street. It's a great website if you guys have never been there, thestreet.com. And they're bringing you all of the information about a lot of things that are financial. So they did an article on what Dave Ramsey was talking about. So we're going to get into that article. I'm going to read it. We're going to talk about it. But he is saying that now is the time to buy. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Are you self-employed, but you're not really showing all that income on those tax returns? Well, we've got loan options available for you. The first one we're going to talk about today is the bank statement program. We're going to take 12 to 24 months of your bank statements, and we're going to calculate the deposits that are going into your personal and business accounts on a monthly basis. From there, we're going to determine what income are you truly earning monthly. That is going to help you qualify for financing without those tax returns. Now, even better, we go down to a credit score as low as 660, but for those great credit scores, we can get you in with as little as 15% down. It's a wonderful program, super awesome option. If you're self-employed, if you're writing it all off and you didn't think that you could secure financing, well, now's the time to call us. Call Mortgage Mom Radio at 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. All right, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and today we are going to be going over this article that I pulled. It was from thestreet.com, so you guys can find it yourself if you'd like to read it later. And it's called Why Dave Ramsey Says Now is the Time to Buy a House. And we're just going to jump right into this, and we're going to talk about it, which is great. So I have said in numerous shows over and over again that we have so many people right now that are sitting on the fence, that are not doing what they would typically be doing. The normal cycles of people buying and selling, upsizing, downsizing are not happening. Everybody's kind of staying put because interest rates are high, and it would be more expensive monthly to move than to just stay where you're at. So if you are, looking to retire and you're thinking we just don't need this big house anymore and the kids have all moved out and we should be selling and we should be moving into that next smaller place and we don't want the maintenance, those normal circumstances of life. You're in a condominium or you don't even own a property yet, but you're in a condominium, let's say, and now you've got a baby on the way and you feel like you need to be getting into something bigger, or you haven't even purchased a property yet, but interest rates are just really high and you're feeling like you should wait. You just need to wait. Now's not the time. This is all over everywhere. Many people have these frustrations. Many people are feeling the same way. And we've got lots of people that are currently sitting on the fence. And as I've also mentioned in previous shows, once rates do start to come down, we are going to see all of those people flood the market, and we are going to see a very competitive, very crazy situation with people buying and selling and making it much more difficult for you to get an offer accepted. You're going to see multiple offers, multiple bids. This is my personal opinion, and I've been saying this now for months, even for the last year here on my show. But now I'm going to read this article to you where Dave Ramsey is chiming in, and he's got very much the same opinion that I do. So I thought that this was really good to kind of help drive this point home. If you don't own a property yet, or you've been thinking that it is time to move, now might be a really good time to execute that plan. So here we go. I'm going to read this to you guys. This was written by Jeffrey Quiggle on October the 2nd. So if you guys do need to or want to find the article, please feel free to do so. Again, it is on thestreet.com. You can find it. And the name of the article is Why Dave Ramsey Says Now is the Time to Buy a House. So I don't want to take any credit for any of this writing. I just want to bring it to you and let you guys hear it. So it says, many potential home buyers have been patiently watching both the market and interest rates, waiting for the right time to buy. Best-selling author and personal finance personality Dave Ramsey has some words on the subject. He believes that if an individual or household has a few key financial considerations in place, relatively high interest rates ought not to be of big concern. If later the interest rates come back down, you're not stuck, he has said, according to The Street. Just refinance and dump the old mortgage. So we have said that numerous times, that when interest rates come down, you would be able to refinance to get yourself into a better monthly payment and pay less in interest. The financial considerations that need to be in place involve, Ramsey said, any other types of debt a prospective home buyer might have while contemplating the purchase. So it is very, very important that you can get into something that is affordable. And I have said that over and over again as well on my previous shows. We can always refinance the rate later, but it is so important to make sure that you are in a financial position to purchase a home and that we are getting you into something that is affordable and comfortable for you to make those payments month after month while you're waiting for the market to turn. But I'm going to keep going. So I just want to make sure this was so cool because it was saying everything that I have been saying in many of my shows here over the past year or so. So when the Fed raises interest rates, mortgage rates almost always go up too. His companies wrote Ramsey's Solutions, his company's website. And a mortgage lender won't lend you as much since higher interest rates increase your debt to income ratio. That means you'll have less buying power when you're shopping for a house. Higher interest rates mean higher monthly payments. The question of whether to buy a house depends on a person's financial situation relative to other debt, Ramsey believes. If you have consumer debt, like a credit card balance, student loans, or a car payment, you should focus on paying that off before you buy a house. You also should kick buying a house down the road if you don't have a fully funded emergency fund worth 3 to 6 months of your typical expenses. So I agree with that. I think that that is absolutely phenomenal advice. I think that everybody does need to understand that things can come up, things can happen where maybe you do lose a job, or maybe something needs to be repaired on the house, an air conditioning unit goes out, or roof needs to be repaired. You are the homeowner, you've got responsibilities of homeownership, and you need to make sure that you do have at least that 3 to 6 months put to the side for reserves to make sure that if something was to come up, that you would be able to take care of it and not default on your loan. So I absolutely agree with him. It is so important to make sure that you guys are making those right financial decisions and executing at the right point in time. Let's see. It says, why? If you have to make payments on debt in addition to your house payment, you'll feel like you're drowning, the website continued. Not only that, but it'll also be hard to find room in your budget to accomplish other important financial goals like investing for retirement and saving to help pay for your kids' college. If a potential homebuyer does have enough cash set aside for emergencies and is debt-free, Ramsey says it's a great time to buy a house. Sure, the interest rates and home prices are high, but they're only going to keep climbing, Ramsey Solutions wrote. And because interest rates are high right now, fewer folks are buying. That means you won't have as much competition when you make offers. So I have mentioned this before in the past as well. If you are, and let me get into this a little bit more in detail. If you are a buyer, whether you're a first-time home buyer or whether you're a repeat buyer, and you have a lower down payment, you're trying to get in with down payment assistance and put nothing down. You're a vet and you're using your VA loan with 0 down. If you have, FHA, you need to go 3.5% down or even 5% down. Those lower down payment loan products, they're fabulous. But when you're going in to make an offer and to negotiate on a property, if there are other offers that come in at the same time and now you are bidding, you're trying to get the seller to take your offer into consideration, you are at the bottom of the totem pole. The seller is going to look at multiple offers and they are going to choose the one that they believe in their heart is going to close. They don't want to go through the transaction numerous times. They don't want the deal to fall apart. They don't want it to cancel. They don't want to have to go back on the market. They don't want to have to go through letting people in their home, showing the home, and just going through that headache of open houses and everything else. They want to know that the offer that they select is the offer that is going to close. So if you have a lower down payment and somebody else comes in with a higher down payment or even an all cash offer, the chances of that offer being selected over yours is very high. So it does make it more difficult for our lower down payment borrowers to get an offer accepted. Now, when there's less competition in the market and you're the only person writing an offer on somebody's home, it makes it much easier for that seller to be willing to negotiate and accept your contract. So keep that in mind. There's also other things that go into consideration when we're in crazy markets where we've got multiple offers on properties and the seller gets to choose, the offer that they want. It's selective. You have overbidding. You've got, appraisal contingencies getting removed where you don't get to lean on the fact that the property is going to come in at value. So there's a lot of other things that go along with it, but that's kind of the main point is if you're trying to buy something and you've got a lower down payment or you need some closing costs to help you, you need the seller to pay some closing costs to help you get into that home. These are things that would be easier in today's market than they will be in the future. Okay, so we're going to keep going on his article. It says, it is never a popular move in the real estate business when the Federal Reserve decides to raise interest rates, but Ramsey says it's not the end of the world. This is still a great time to buy a house. You just might pay a little more than you would have a few months ago. It is also a good time to sell a house. If you already have a fixed rate mortgage locked in, you're in good shape too. Don't listen to the doom and gloom that's all over the internet and in the news. Owning a home is still more than possible, and you still control your financial future. So I thought that was just an absolutely fabulous article. It kind of really drove the point of all of the things that we've been saying here on the Mortgage Mom Radio Show about getting yourself ahead of the game, getting out there before, the herd gets started. Once we start to hear that interest rates are going to start to come down, we are going to see a ton of people come out of the woodwork to start their shopping experience. And you don't want to get caught up in that craziness. You want to be able to try to get something locked in now, and your opportunity to refinance later is absolutely there. They cannot keep interest rates as high as they have been forever. And we've actually got a little bit to talk about with that as well, as far as what is going on in the market this week. We've all heard about the tragedy that happened in Israel and, the war that they are now fighting with Gaza and Hamas and everything that is happening there. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're seeing with interest rates, what we've heard the Federal Reserve come out today and say as far as raising interest rates. I just did a show about 3-4 weeks ago where the Fed came out and said that they were not going to increase. They were holding steady, but that they were going to do at least one more increase this year. So now we're starting to get a little bit of a different situation. We're getting a little bit of a different feel, and things can change just like that dramatically, that fast. So we're going to take a super quick break. Don't go anywhere, and I'm going to get you caught up on the market when we get back. Do you have assets in the bank and you're looking for a mortgage, but you can't prove your income? Well, we've got a solution for you. We have an asset liquidation program where we're going to look at all of the assets that you have available and calculate based on that how much your monthly income would be. We're not going to write down where you work. We're not going to verify any W-2s, pay stubs, or tax returns. We're simply going to work off of your assets. This is a great program, especially for those that are bond trading or working a little bit in that stock market. Maybe you've got some money set aside in another account for a trust, but this is a great opportunity for those of you who can't prove the income, but you have the assets available. So give us a call. Call Mortgage Mom Radio at 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. WELEND and the number 4. Or head on over to our website at mortgagemomradio.com. All right, so welcome back to Mortgage Mom Radio. I'm Debbie Marcoux. I am the Mortgage Mom, and we are talking about the article that I just read, which was in relation to what Dave Ramsey had recently come out and said about now is a great time to buy. You definitely need to make sure finances are in order. We're not telling anybody to go buy a home that can't afford to do so, but if you're in the position where you are ready to buy and you've been sitting on the fence, now would be a great time to be able to negotiate a good price and, then refinance at a later date to save your money on interest and lower that monthly payment. Now, I mentioned right before break, we were going to talk a little bit about what is going on in the financial markets. And we've had quite a bit of a roller coaster. It is Wednesday, but literally since Monday, we've been seeing a roller coaster take place with the bond market, U.S. treasuries, and everything else that is that moves our mortgage interest rates and makes also the decisions that the Fed makes, kind of brings them to where they make those decisions, right? I kind of lost my wording there, but basically, with the war that is taking place right now, we've got a lot of people that are getting nervous. They're not exactly sure how this is going to affect things. And as I've mentioned in previous shows, mortgage rates are not directly connected to the Federal Reserve prime rate. They're actually connected to other things like U.S. Treasuries and mortgage notes and bonds. However, they do move with the Federal Reserve. And so when the Federal Reserve goes up, a lot of times most of the time, almost every time, we see those interest rates increase. However, what's really driving it are those treasuries, are those yields, are people buying into bonds, are people selling their bonds, what are they doing? And right now we've got a lot of the market has started to buy into bonds because they're nervous about what is happening overseas and whether or not things are going to get a little up and down with maybe more aggressive stocks that are going to be a little bit more volatile, and they're starting to buy up some bonds and they're starting to buy some treasuries. So we actually saw mortgage interest rates this week so far. It's only Wednesday, but yesterday and today we actually have seen that mortgage rates are starting to improve. Now, I've also seen that the Federal Reserve came out with their minutes for, where are they at right now as far as what are they thinking that they're going to do at the next federal meeting, since they did announce at the last meeting that they were going to possibly increase interest rates one more time. So that's what we've all been prepared for. But those minutes came out and they're actually looking like they might be done. They might actually be done, and they're not going to move that prime rate any higher. So again, at the first signal that interest rates might be done increasing, and we know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for interest rates to eventually start to come down. Now, remember, just because they say that they're going to keep them steady doesn't necessarily mean interest rates are going to fall overnight. But what that does mean is they're going to hold those rates there for a while, again, to continue working on that inflation, and then they're going to start to bring those rates down. But at that first glimpse of, hey, we're done, we're not doing any more, and everybody can see that light at the end of the tunnel, we're going to finally, see that rates in the future are going to come down. We're kind of done with these rate hikes. That's going to give people that feeling of, I can do this now. I can get out there. I can start looking. I can start buying, and I can refinance down the road. I'm not going to be trapped in this horrible interest rate for, the next 3 years. So I do think that when their minutes came out, they did say that they may be done. And I think that is fabulous news. I think it is really good news. I think nobody knows for sure. We got to wait for the next meeting to see if that's what they really say. But according to their minutes that came out today, it looks like we might be done. So with that, I was reading another article and I thought, gosh, this is going to be helpful too. And again, I'm just trying to drive home the point, guys, that if you thought about buying a home, if you thought about selling your home, if you thought about doing anything, now is a fabulous time to do that before it gets crazy. And that craziness will start. This is at least my opinion. I am the mortgage mom. I am Debbie Marcoux. This is what I think is going to happen, but I'm not the only person that thinks that is what's going to happen when we see interest rates start to come down. I think we're going to see a very, very crazy market and an uptick in purchases, and lots of people come out off of the fences and out of the woodwork. So I was reading this article today and it kind of tied right into what I wanted to talk about today. And this actually came to me an email straight from SoFi. SoFi is a bank. If none of you guys have heard of them before, they do mortgage, they do personal loans, and they're a great bank. I like them a lot. So they actually sent this article out and it just happened to tie in. So I wanted to read it. And this one says, interest rates are too high. Housing associations tell Fed. So I'm going to read this to you, and I think it's going to also help you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, everybody's starting to push on this now. We're too high. You guys have to stop. So it says rate reverberations. Home buyers are in a pinch. Costs are notably high and inventory is notably low. Now America's major housing associations are pointing fingers at the Federal Reserve, calling for action. The Mortgage Bankers Association, the National Association of Realtors, and the National Association of Home Builders penned an open letter to the Fed pleading for it to reconsider its interest rate policy. The Federal Reserve slashed interest rates to near zero in the wake of the pandemic when the economy ground to a halt. Then, in an effort to prevent the economy from overheating and get the high pandemic era inflation under control, the central bank hiked rates. The Fed's benchmark rate currently sits in the range of 5.25% to 5.5%. But the letter to the Fed emphasizes growing nervousness about the fallout of high rates. Recent data points highlight the mounting pressure on homebuyers. Mortgage rates have reached a 23-year high, while application activity has hit the lowest level since the mid-1990s. The letter asks the Fed to firmly announce no further rate hikes and ensure a hands-off approach on mortgage-backed securities holdings, at least until the housing market once again sits on a solid foundation. While the message may be intended for the central bank, it provides a welcome signal to homebuyers struggling with the tough market too. You are not alone in your frustration. So as you can see, there are many, many people that are really pushing hard to try to get the Fed to stop. Their minutes came out today saying it looks like we might be the end. Many investors are feeling like we're at the end. At the next Fed meeting, they are going to say they are done. So I'm just trying to bring you guys these signals ahead of the game because you're probably not watching the financial news. You're probably not watching the market the way that I do. You know, everybody has a different job. Everybody does something different for a living. And where I don't know many, many things when it comes to other industries, this is the industry that I know. And this is the industry that I have been working on and working in for the last 29 years. And I probably have to start saying 30 soon. So I'm definitely dating myself. But I started in this industry in 94. And so I can tell you from my history, from my experience, that we are going to see the market start to pick up. Now, is that going to happen right away, next month, tomorrow? No, it's not. I think that we do have a good, solid, probably 3, maybe even 6 months before we start to see things really start to change and really start to heat up. Remember, it takes a while for the information to get out there. It takes a while for it to catch on. It takes a while for, somebody to decide that they're going to buy a house and then start talking to a friend about how they bought a house. And then to somebody else say, yeah, it looks like interest rates are going to come down soon. It takes a long time for that to start to move people. So I'm doing my part. I'm giving you guys the information. I hope you're hearing me loud and clear. If you've been on the fence, if you've been thinking that it's time, if you've been feeling like you needed to put it on hold until things do start to improve, I'm giving you guys that heads up. I'm giving you that warning. I would get started today. I would get your pre-approvals going. If you have a house to sell, I'd be contacting your realtor. Find out what your home is worth. Find out how much equity that you have that you can move over to another home. Find out if you can buy a house. How much can you buy a house for? What would that monthly payment look like? Get the education that you need. Know what your monthly payment will be today, but also know what might that interest rate monthly payment look like if the interest rate was 1% lower? What would that monthly payment look like if it was 2% lower? Get the education from your loan officer and get the process started. Now, the best way to get the process started, of course, is to call Mortgage Mom Radio because that is what we're here for. This is what we want to do for you, and we want to help you guys. We want to bring you through your home journey, whether it is buying, whether it is selling, whether it is moving, whether it's doing both, whether it's your first time or it is your last. We want to be your go-to, and me and my team want to help. So give us a call. It's 844-935-3634. That's 844, we lend for you. WELEND and the number 4. And if you want to jump on like my mother-in-law does, Karen, every week, she is my number 2 biggest supporter outside of my dad. But you guys might be neck and neck, to be honest with you. But if you guys want to know when I go live, you want to join me, you want to get that text message to join, you have to opt in, get the text message. It's a link to YouTube and it just brings you straight into the show and you can ask me all the questions that you want during the time that I'm on. You're going to text the word mom to 844-935-3634. That's 844. We lend for you. WELEND and the number 4. Same phone number to text mom to opt in is the same phone number to call my office. And you can always head over to my website, check things out there. It's mortgagemomradio.com. Do not forget the radio. So many people go to mortgagemom.com, and that is not me. That is not the website. It is mortgagemomradio.com. I hope you guys all have a fabulous week, and I will be back again next Wednesday right here, right around 1. But hopefully next week we don't have a neighbor's car on our front yard. I'm not worried about power going out, and I can get that text message sent out to all of you guys. So I hope you guys all have a really great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida L076508, Georgia 69178, Idaho MLO 208023796, Illinois 031.0058339, Missouri, North Carolina I210940, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington MLO 237926.
She's a mortgage mom. She can get things done when you're in need and don't know where to go. Pick up the phone and call mom.